Why are you trying to record right now?
Man, cause see, first of all, you know how it is when it's me and you, but I will not miss an opportunity. Now look,
Bro,
let
I
me
am I am sweating right now.
why you sweating? Cause you working hard and that because of me?
Well, yeah, I just had a meeting just before this where we were running around.
And
Look
good
at this,
meeting?
baby. Yeah, great meeting. It's a local digital marketing company, and I've been trying to get connected with them for a while. They did an influencer event, and so they came in, shot some stuff, did some ads with them, and then they're going to be posting on their community and looking at doing a partnership with the studio to help because they do like web design. We are looking at doing a because business is like we need a website, but then the website designer is like, do you have any assets like photos, anything? They're like, no, we don't. I was like, all right, cool. So we're looking at doing a package where they can get their assets by the studio. So we'll do their headshots, we'll do their like company branding, photos, that kind of stuff. And so we're also give them an exclusive discount for their clients.
Man, for you to always talking about you trying to make it and you think you there, it sound like you there.
Right? This is me trying to make it. This is like our first meeting. I've been trying to get a hold of these people for a minute, and I made a joke. I was like, I've been DMing you guys. So I finally went
Did,
to an influencer event that they were hosting, introduced myself, and then like now they're like they came out to the studio, and I think it's going to be a really good, fruitful, partnership. So that's exciting.
so right there, you talking about you were trying to DM them, then you had to go to an event that they were hosting.
hmm
Did they respond to your DMs or no? You did all that sliding for nothing.
Well, the girl, I went to a different platform that their audience wasn't as convoluted. So I went to Facebook, and she responded to my Facebook messages, but not my Instagram.
Okay.
So
All right. So sometimes you got to go to where there's noise, huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like she said yes, and then to come to the studio, and we didn't really like get a lot solidified. And then I went to, you put the face to the name. Like I went to the actual event, introduced myself for the first time, and she already knew who I was because of our Facebook messages. But the guy didn't really know who I was, and even though we're friends on Facebook, and he see my stuff, and he also reposted one of my recent like reels on talking about the elections and how there's only 12% voter turnout for like Polk County. And so he responded to that. And
Wait,
then at
wait,
the
wait, wait.
end,
Hold on. What percent voter turnout for Polk County? You said one,
for
two, like
late for
12?
12%. So it was 17% for the whole county, and then 12% for Lakeland for the voter turnout. Yeah, yeah. Wild. I mean,
What,
I
what
could go into why, but
I mean, what did they do? Did they have the elections at midnight? What was going on, bro?
when it comes to the government of Lakeland, the government
Whoa,
in
hold
general
on,
teams.
hold on, hold
Listen,
on.
listen. I'm
Wait.
just saying. Listen,
Be
you got to
careful.
let me finish the sentence before you start saying things. All right?
No, are you okay? Because we have recorded this, and I will cut it if need to.
Yeah,
I just want
yeah.
to
I'm
remind you
fine
that
with
you're
saying
being
whatever it
recorded.
is that I say be posted. Right? Like it's so like the government in general is like 10 years behind everybody else, right? It feels like they're always just behind in terms of like technology, how to get messaging out there, all that kind of stuff. Lakeland is 5 to 10 years behind everybody else. So if you're already behind, how they communicate and what they do, and I would let them know because I think it's an issue, is they're not using any sort of modern forms of communication. It's still the very traditional media outlets, and it's only reaching the 12% of people who are actively engaged in the community versus
Mhm.
the newer, younger people. One of the issues that we had is you would even go on the government website and you're like, well, how do I get information on these candidates? There's barely any information on the candidates themselves. The candidates weren't using any sort of social media, which is where everybody gets their information from. Even their websites that they have to give information didn't have information that so people were confused. They were like, what do we vote? What do you stand for? Like, I don't understand. I could see. So I think we just get apathetic. And so people are like, you can't give us information. You have to spoon feed people. You can't expect people to be like, well, go get the information. And then when they actually do go get the information, there's not enough information to give them any sort of reason as to like why they should be out there and vote. I think it's a big issue in communication. So there's my little rant on that.
No,
Anyways,
so it's not a rant. It's coming from someone who specialize not only in communication but helping others get their message out, right? And so
mhm.
you are uniquely gifted and talented, qualified to speak about that. But hey, now hold on, now relax, slow down, grasshopper.
My head
But
moves look really great on the background.
hey,
Welcome to Beyond the Velvet Rope with Neil Oates Jr., the podcast that takes you on an extraordinary journey into the world of luxury service. Join us as we unlock the secrets, stories, and strategies behind exceptional experiences. From anticipating VIP needs to crafting unforgettable memories, we'll guide you on a path to service excellence in the realm of the affluent. Let's elevate your expertise and redefine the art of world-renowned service. Here's your host, Neil Oates Jr.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast. This is Neil Oates Jr., BMJ, Brandon Moore Johnson, doing what we usually do. And
What's
that's
good,
why
everybody?
I hit record as soon as you sat, even before you sat down.
Yeah, I
Because-
saw it. I was like, I got it.
Because I know what happens when we do this. And so, sir, first of all, it's great to have you on.
Yeah, you too,
But
man.
I must say that you are my most popular guest, and we've tried to figure out why. We have no idea why this works. But something I have learned
I mean, if you
is-
looked at the quality of the video that I did then and the quality that it is now, there might be something to be said. You know,
Now, hold on that. So I'm looking at you, and so I know you, and we're going to talk about what you're doing now, where you are physically now. But, bruh, I look at you and I look at the way your skin is glowing, and I know that we have similar complexion, and I look whitewashed. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, we got to work on the lighting in here. And Brandon's going to be like, I can give you tips, you know what I mean? You come to the
lighting's
studio.
everything. Listen, you already know. I so desperately want to get a hold of your content and help you. But like, you're on the other side where you just take action no matter what. And I'm on like the more the perfectionist side. So like, I think it's a good give and take on the relationship. But my gosh, I would love to like help get.
He
you
was
look-
like, man, I want people to see your real color. Come on, man.
I want people to see you looking like the capacity that you provide to the world versus still looking
This.
great. We we said I was like, it's great, but it could be greater. That's the little motto. I was like, it could be greater.
Ladies and gentlemen, you all are here with Brandon Moore Johnson, BMJ, Neil Oates
That's me.
Jr. on Beyond the Velvet Rope podcast. And so we're going to continue to have fun.
Beyond the Velvet Rope podcast.
So
You know, I
why
had to
don't
throw it
you?
in there. I had to do it.
So why don't you just go ahead and create a theme song for me, since you're all things creative?
You
But
just
I
take that one.
that's it.
What, you want me to go?
I need it mastered. I want the finished product. Here's what I'll do. I will cut that and I will use that, and I will just go ahead and grab the audio from that. And then the first time you hear it, what are you going to say? No, that's great, but it could be greater. See, I know you. And so that's not going to be good enough.
Yeah. If you want to pay for the studio session, I do have a full professional studio production right here who actually controls this space that I rent from. They own a music studio, so I can
Okay.
make it happen.
So let's talk about where you are and what you're doing, right? Because I think this
Let's
is
do it.
important. You mentioned the quality of the videos that we've done before and where you are now. You came on screen and I said, heck to the no. My man got the uplighting. He's got the environment. Where are you right now, sir, in your physical location? Because I'm looking at this background and I said, oh, BMJ is killing it. Talk to me.
I am in my studio called Content Studios. That is a content and podcast production studios for businesses, entrepreneurs, creators. Our goal is to minimize the barrier to entry to creating high quality content. So we're the space. If you need headshots, podcast content for your business, Zoom calls that look like this, we're your spot here in Lakeland, Florida. Dixieland.
Okay,
That's what it is.
so let's talk about where this came from, because this has a lot in here in terms of the vision, the dream, the goal, the challenges, the victories.
Mhm.
Where was this
The struggle.
born? Now, see, listen, I didn't think there was any struggle because you got blue lights, you got a halo floating over your head. Do you want to start with the struggle? Because I would love to start wherever you want to start.
Yeah, don't let what things look like disease. Might have a smile on my face, but my gosh, if there's not explosions happening behind me.
So
I think that this was birthed out of struggle. Like, I don't know. I needed a way, like, because I've been in real estate, right, for 8 years. And so I had a season where it's like, one, I wanted to figure out a way to bring creativity back into my life because my background is music. And I used to sing all the time. I haven't really done that in a long time. Two, I wanted to figure out how I can restructure my business and how do I want to build my real estate business how I want to, and where do I see the future of real estate going. And then three, it was just out of a need because the real estate market was slowing down a lot. And I was like, all right, like I don't want to be in a business where it's cyclical because of market fluctuations as drastically. Um, and the only way to combat that is to have a business structure that you can be consistent in and then doing something that I really love. So I wanted to build real estate in a way that I felt where the industry was going. So I think we need to be video first. I think we need to be utilizing social media. That's the new media. It's no longer like your traditional forms. I mean, even Netflix is starting to pick up podcasting, and there's a lot of things moving into that direction. And then I felt like brokers and brokerages weren't bringing enough value to agents. Where like Zillow was taking over like leads and all that kind of stuff. It's like, well, I'm gonna get leads from. How do I want to get leads? I'm not going to cold call. I'm not going to door knock. I'm not going to do any of that kind of stuff. But I can be consistent on social media. And like what I think real estate fails to do is teach agents how to find the single source that they want to get their business from and to go after that single source. And so for me, I was like, I love social media. I could do this all the time. So let me move into that direction. And then also, how can I be of value to business owners, to people in the community? Or when I went into a networking group, I'm not just a dime a dozen. I have value. And so a lot of that value, we're big on small business owners. So if I come to them saying, hey, I actually own a small business, I own a content studio, even for a couple, they're like, oh, like you're not just a realtor. I'm like, no. Like, so I have other brands, I have other stuff that I'm working on, and I can meet them at their level that I couldn't otherwise. So it really helps. Long story of saying like the struggle of not having enough business in real estate, wanted to figure out where my business was going, moved me into creating content for myself. And then Neil here said like, if you're creating content for yourself, why can't you do that for other people? I was like, oh, I guess
Now,
and then
no. So here's right there. You were doing this thing for yourself so well, like just amazing, and you discounted your gifting, right? You discounted that thing so much that you were like, "What do you mean? Oh yeah, it was easy. I mean, no, I could just show you how to do it." I'm like, "No, if you could show me, you could show a lot of other people." And I remember the video that hit for me. It's the one where you're stepping over the house, and next thing you know, and look, you know it, and the ground shakes. And you're like, you do understand why I had to have the ground shake because I couldn't get it to fit perfect. I'm like, dude, first of all, I don't care. It was an amazing video, right? And so how do you go from doing this thing, because you mentioned that you are a creative and it got you back into the space where maybe not music, but you got to unlock that part, that love of doing something and birthing something. How do you go from being great at real estate, and even though the market was doing its thing, right, and still is, you're saying, okay, I've got to get back to doing something that's going to have some passion. And you mentioned that you could do this all day, every day. How do you go
Mhm.
from seeing, yes, I need to do something different, because it's one thing to see, to then deciding and taking that leap? How do you cross that bridge?
It was just out of straight necessity. Like I had to figure out how I was bringing money in. And the only lever that I could pull was a skill set that I was already in and developing. And so instead of trying to find something different, hence why the conversation you and I had to like, well, you could just do it for somebody else, was like, duh. So I made a distinct decision to put it out there, being like, I'm helping other people. I reached out to the contacts that I already had in the space for marketing, and they got me connected with my first client that ended up paying me $6,000 a month. And I was like, I did not realize it was going to be that easy. I can't say it was that easy, but I spent 5 years developing this skill set that now has served me in a way where I can see like I'm a content creator, I'm making money as a photographer, as a videographer, which a year ago I would have been like, there's no way I'm doing that. That's how is it generally came out of like an for a lack of better words of saying this is like an oh shit moment. I make money. And so how do I do that? And so I'm on the upward trajectory of being consistent. Hopefully here in the next year, replacing the income that I was making in real estate. But it's like financially, it's been a huge struggle. But I don't have any other skills, and that was a scary thing. I was like, I don't know what else I can do if it's not real estate or if it's not video. Like I can't go get this other job that people don't see like what the value is, and the job market's difficult right now, and nobody can find jobs right now anyway. So I'm like, all right, well, cool. I did this, and now I just did I just did a shoot with Cy Robertson from Duck Dynasty doing behind the scenes for like a roofing company. And then now I have this local one. So
You're
I'm just now getting into the
crazy.
I'm just now getting
Did you
into
just
the
hear what you
space of like
said, B?
I did. I did. I was like, in my mind, because you see all of that, and like there's still goals that like I'm still struggling financially. I'm still not paying bills right now. But we're on the like, you can't let current circumstances dictate you being able to move forward in the dreams to get to the goal, right? And so that's what I've been really trying to find, try to do right now. Is like, yes, life is really, really difficult, but there is the like light at the end of the tunnel. I am moving towards something that I know will make life stable, and I'll get to leverage it even better in my real estate because I'm learning a skill. That was the other thing, is like, how do I set myself up for the next 5 years to have this? So everything that I'm doing now, I can leverage across any kind of business that I want to build. I can leverage across real estate. I can leverage across like some other business opportunities I want to do. But this is the foundation. So if I learn this, I'm already one up on all the real estate agents. Nobody's doing this. And then like now I get to have a deeper connection with business owners, and it's opened up connections and opportunities that like I would have not been able to have or have known of had I not stepped into this space.
A couple of things that you mentioned here. One was that you said that if you would, like a year ago, you didn't think this was possible, or you would have looked at this and said like, wow, I can't believe this is being done. And so here's what I know. So I have on my phone, Proverbs 18:16 is my screensaver. And it says, a man's gift maketh room for him and bringeth him before great men. And so and you're living proof, you're a testament of that, right? The idea you're like, and I love the fact that you're sitting here telling people that you discounted the gifts and the talents that you had. You're like, hey, I don't have anything else but this right here. I know real estate and video and social media. And even in that, that's enough, right? So we know a lot of our colleagues, they're sitting here saying, well, let me go and try something way out here that I have no skill in, I have no talent, I have no gifting in, and let me do this. But now it's brought you before great men. But here's where I want to,
And I would
want to
say
ask.
our relationship being a testament of that, because I view you as one of those great men. Like I still see the first time that you and I met, you doing a class in my brokerage, like so like the most random of like circumstances. But there was something about you that I'm like, I want to figure out how I can get connected with this guy. And then now having like an actual friendship with you and seeing the stuff that you're doing, it's always a constant encouragement. So I think there's relationships that we have that is a testament to that proverb that you just said. And I think our relationship is that.
Now, even then, I remember walking into your office and you being excited about the camera just coming in and all the stuff that you had. And you had this grand vision, right? Of you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to build this and I'm going to do this. And you were trying to do it for real estate, for the offers, for the brokerage. So let's talk about this. What happens when your vision is bigger than, look, you know where I'm going, when your vision is bigger than the vision of those around you who can't see what you see? And here's why I bring that up. You didn't only get into this thing where now you're a content creator. I could do that with just a laptop and some, what we're going to say, virtual backgrounds. That is not the way BMJ went. BMJ went the route of building a physical space, of creating this physical space that requires more to be excellent. So that commitment there, you've pushed all your chips in. So where does that drive come from to say, if we're going to do this? Because you had to spend money, invest before you made money. So where does that come from? That's what I want to know.
I think it's a curse and a gift. I can't help but think like, how do I do this the best way possible? And I'm just a big picture thinker. So when I started to think about this 3 years ago, I already went into like, this is just what I believe the world is going to. And I think if I look at me, how can I serve the me who is like just getting started, doesn't have the money, have a little bit of money to start spending, but like doesn't know how to create this image here? Like, how can I help that person and that business owner create high quality content without the headache of being like, I got to invest all this money, I got to invest all this time and like figure it out. So the only way that I knew is one, through research, and then coming across other studio owners who are already doing it. I was like, oh, like these people are doing the thing that I would love to do. And so after researching through YouTube, so that's where like the idea for the space came in. I was like, I wonder if there's any local spaces or places that I could do. I ended up having a friend who had the space, was building it out and couldn't use it. And so we ended up getting connected. And a lot of the equipment that I have, like this lighting, this light here, the camera, the monitor that's hooked up to, all the way down to like, I had this in my studio already, right? And so there's ways to do it that, for instance, all the furniture that you see here is because of relationship that I had because of real estate, where I got all this for free and the sponsors. And like I had a Roadcaster thing where like they gave it to me for free because he didn't need it. Like it was a real estate, he was a partnership. So it was leveraging other people and also just where my head works. Like this is just the dream, this is the goal, this is where we think we're at. And we're not in the overarching dream, like the big dream, like there's still more to this. But I'm in the like, I'm starting and I'm in the beginning stages of that. So my brain just thinks that way. I don't have any other way to say it. Like it's like go big or go home. And then I made a big investment and my wife was not the happiest about it. And she still kind of isn't. And I have to prove her wrong, but but this is me putting like this is my belief in action. This is what I believe to be true. And I think that if we're not in that space, and then it's like from business thing, how could I leverage that?
Good
And like
stuff.
I
Ladies
built
and
like
gentlemen.
all this is me. Like this is me. All this is me. I built it for me. And if I built it for me, like you said, if you did it for yourself, why can't you do it for other people? And so now this is that me doing it for other people and trying to be of value.
And this is where Neil Oates is going to do this for him. You all heard him talk about some stuff. If you all, now he does not know this, but everything that he just talked about, reinforcing resilience, owning it all, meaning that he did this for himself. He's serving others, excelling everywhere, and network strategically by having the relationships. But then you also heard BMJ talk about doing the research and educating himself. Those 7 principles, ladies and gentlemen, tried true, the Affluent Negroes, theaffluentnegroes.com. Always looking for a chance to promote, especially when we know it's going to make a difference and it's beneficial. So I want to ask you from a different avenue, sort of. We mentioned even before we actually officially began the podcast, you talked about government, just the local government and what you see, but you really talked about communication. And then you went into the new person that's starting out. If you're having a conversation, or let's say we have that new business owner, the entrepreneur that fell in love with the dream, the goal, but then reality smacked them. They said, okay, I know I need to be on social. I know I need to get my marketing message out. I know I need to do communication and all this, but I don't know where to start. What are you encouraging them to do? Is it to make the call and have a consultation with Content Studio? Where do I, as someone, or where does the beginning Brandon Moore Johnson start?
I mean, honestly, the very first thing, if you haven't talked to ChatGPT or Grok or one of these platforms that are either free or super cheap to use, or if you haven't searched on YouTube, if you haven't done any sort of personal research, Googling, whatever, you have to start there. Like we have like the wealth of knowledge, ChatGPT, that you can say, here's my business. I want to get started in social media. What do I do? Ask me all the questions that you need to ask me to get an understanding of who I am as a person and as a business, to get me started in social media, and then help me break down how do I get started. Like that's your first prompt. Like first, foremost, everything, and then like it'll trigger everything else. And to me, like if you haven't done that, then like don't come talk to me. So and so that's kind of like the initial thing. It's like if you come to me and having done no research whatsoever, you just want the answer, like you're already losing. Then once you've done that and you need clarity and you want the next step, then it's reaching out to somebody who's an expert in the field. If you're a person, but if you're the me, you just start doing. Like you're the Neil who just takes action. So like do the first thing, take action, because knowledge is on the other side of action. Is a thing that I'm saying. So like if you don't know what you don't know. So start taking the steps. It's like God lights the path in front of you. You take one step forward and like here's everything I know. Then you take another step. Then all of a sudden, like, oh, here's this person that can help me that I didn't know. And I wouldn't have known had I not taken that step. Right. And so to me, that's like the very foundational part of, if you want to get started in social media or just posting, do the research and then take action on the research, and then find the professionals and the people along the way that will help you get to the next level.
That answer is a testament to your character because you're like, hey, don't call me first. Do your own research so you can know what you might need to do before you have that conversation. So now I want to go into, we're here as we're recording this, we're at the close to the end of 2025. Going into 2026. As we finish this year going into 2026, what's on the horizon for BMJ?
My goal for 2026 is to be full time, like stability with the studio. So there's a lot of cool relationships that I'm starting now that's going to give me a good runway. But at the end of the day, 2025 was Brandon Moore Johnson diving into content, video, and understanding this marketing thing. And so now I'm like swimming. I'm swimming in the deep end right now. So it's still that process of like learning how to swim. Waters are rough, and continue building connections, continue building the studio, being of value to people, and yeah, that's the first start. Is like I just want this studio to have stability. So I'm hoping within the next few months I'll be on the track for that.
So you've mentioned this word value, right? You said add value, add value, add value. Why is that so important to you, especially in a time when we see people aren't worried about adding value? They're just working, they're worried and focused on getting themselves. So you live by and work by this value add first principle. Right. So why is that so important to you and what you're doing?
I just think it's one, being a person of faith. I think everything we do is for the benefit and service to other people. Just by the very nature of how I believe what I believe my life to be, and the skills. My purpose in life is to use the skills and resources to help somebody else find success in their life. Right. And I codified it because I wanted to make sure that no matter what I was doing, that was the foundation to who I was. So the more you give, the more you get. And it's not the mentality of I want to get you get. It's just the natural thing is like the more you pour into somebody else, like the more you put into the bank starts returning stuff. And when you start asking for money and there's money there, people will give it. Right. So when you bring the value to people, it is just that nature. Like Brandon just brought value just because he wanted to bring value, and that was an amazing thing. So when I do have an ask, or like today was a testament for this person coming in and building this stuff for value for somebody else, and now they're like, oh, how can we help you? Like, how can we push your message forward? And I was like, oh, that's kind of a crazy thing. I didn't like, didn't really expect it. So I just think like the simple thing is people feel authenticity. And people will understand that if you're coming from a place of value and you're coming from a place of like thoughtfulness of giving, then it's an easier way to kind of walk through life, especially as a business owner.
Now, I hear everything you're saying, right? I look at the beautiful video you have. I look at the great background, the backdrop, and I'm sitting here saying, well, he's made it. And like, I hear his story, but I am not where Brandon is now. I might be at that place of necessity, right? So how do I get through because you even mentioned, hey, don't believe everything you see right now. I'm smiling, but I might be smiling to keep from crying. What helped you get through the ups and downs, right? Because I was telling my homeboy Freemo, who is a huge fan of yours, by the way, I said, hey, man, BMJ is going to be back on again. He was like, Brandon Moore Johnson? I'm like, yeah, we're doing this again today. And so he was like, man, I really like BMJ. I'm like, but, we were having this conversation.
Who's this guy? I want to meet him.
No, you don't. It's okay. So you've got, just know you have fans who every video we shoot, everything we post, everything you post, he's like, well, I like that guy. I said, he's okay. But sort of the conversation we were having about you is that you are living through a storm of self-creation, right? So you decided I've got to do something different. And so while we're going through this storm and we see silver lining, it's also like, well, we've created this thing. You decided to go this route and you're walking through it. So how do we walk through storms? How do we get through those things, even if we see purpose, vision, a goal achieved on the other side, but when we're in it, we don't like it? So what keeps you going instead of saying, this is it, I'll go a different route?
That's such an interesting question because I asked myself that all the time. And that, like, so I'll kind of give some backstory, right? And just be a little honest is I'm in the worst financial position I've ever been in my life. And that comes from a situation of us building our house and having a builder that I thought we could, respecting finance with, and it just ended up being a horrible, horrible situation. And like we lost a ton of money to the point where it's like, well, we don't know if we're gonna be able to keep this house, but we have to keep this house. And then at that same time, the real estate market slowed way down. And so my income stream dried up. And so it was an interesting feeling to be like, I am in the worst spot. I can't, um, I can't support my daughter. I can't support my wife. I can't, like, I'm failing as a husband. I'm failing as a business owner. Like this sucks. It's horrible. But I had a deep rooted belief of where I felt like things were going. And then with encouragement, and I think I've done a good job of now building community around me. So I think yours and our relationship, I have another friend who's like really close that we meet once a week. There's a community that you have to surround yourself with that helps you, one, stay sane and let you know, like, yeah, people have experienced this kind of stuff. But then two, it's like, this is where I believe the world is going. And yes, like, my life is horrible and I have to figure out like, it's like the real talk, like my life is horrible, but I have to feel like, how do I bring in income to support? So again, it goes back to the thing, like, I had no choice. I had to make a decision and I had to really figure out, okay, Brandon, like, what it is can you do and do you have that you can bring in money? And to me, it was the only thing that I could think of and that I knew of was this video thing. So I didn't want to switch into doing video full time, being a creator for other people, being a videographer, because then I'm like, I'm not great. Or other people are like way better than I am. But didn't have a choice. So I had to step out and be like, all right, I need to support my daughter. I need to support my wife. We got to pay our bills. I got to figure out a way to save this house. So doing the studio was a big thing of like, I see stability in this long term. I'm going to have to weather this storm to like get to a point where I'm going to be able to create the income that pays for our mortgage. Like that was my goal. Like I need to pay for my mortgage. So what kept me going is like I had no other option. Otherwise, we lose our house. I fail as a provider for the family. Like that's kind of like all the things that are going in my mind. And even till this day, my wife and I are still struggling with the decision that I've made to do this. And then like I helped with the house, and I've actively been looking for jobs to bring in income. I had the roofing job that I went through. I started getting into photography because somebody paid me to do photography. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. That's funny. And then I got a bigger job, and it turns out I'm like, oh, I actually really like photography. This is cool. So I started getting to like for the past 5 months, I didn't get the money to keep the studio open until like 2 to 3 days before the date that it was due, and I was going to get kicked out. And I'm still like in this thing. But so people are like, my wife, for her, she's like, why don't you just let it go? I was like, well, if I let it go, there's other financial implications that are going to be harder. I have to rebuild a different source of stream of income, or I have to go to a job that's for 40 hours a week that's going to pay me less than half of what I could be making doing this other stuff. So there's just like this deep rooted system of like, this is where I think things are going. This is a skill set that I have, and this is how I can have long-term stability. And so now I'm in a position where I've proven myself right that people want what I'm building, but I'm still in the beginning stages. And that's helpful because I've been reading like entrepreneurs and people who've been in this space, and every single one of them had their like come to Jesus moment. Life is all going crazy and failing, and like I can't do whatever. And so that gave me courage to realize like other entrepreneurs that have found success have been in my shoes where I'm at right now. So like I'm not the only one. So knowing that I could weather a lot of storms, realizing like I'm actually in a really good spot in terms of where the business and where things are going. And I've proven myself enough where like I've gotten paid more than I ever thought I could get paid more for a photography session for 2 hours of work. I'm like, that's wild. Same thing for like headshots, same thing for video stuff. And like, so there's just been this creative work. And then with the relationships that I built over the past 8 years of being a professional as a real estate agent, there is that level of, people have seen me like grow as a professional, but then all of them are like, this just makes sense for you, Brandon. Like, this is where I've literally had people message me being like, yeah, this 100% makes sense. Like, we've always seen you this. People thought I had a full production crew. And I didn't know that. Nobody really communicates that to me, but every single, like I had somebody from back home who literally messaged me like, Brandon, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, this feels right for you. And I'm like, I haven't talked to you in years. Like, what the heck is happening? So what keeps me going is a deep sense of belief in myself, a deep sense of where I think things are going, and then wanting to build something that was me and not wanting to build something that was like having to go to some 9-to-5. Having the thought of going to a 9-to-5 working for somebody else is literally the like it's like it
Preach, brother.
tears me
Come
apart.
on, man.
Like it tears me apart. The thought of doing that. But I have active applications in for things right now. But I have
Man,
things that are happening right now that are like the catalyst that'll give me the next 5 to 6 like runway. Them just cold reaching out to me, being like, the studio that you built, the person said the only reason why I reached out is because I saw what you've been posting on Content Studios and being like, oh, this person understands this. And the person I'm talking about is a person who's like, is a CEO of a company, has exited, has been in this space for 10 years. And so I told him, like, for you to say that to me for what I've been creating here is just very validating. And so I've had a lot of validations over the last few weeks. Every month I prayed, God, I don't know what's going to happen. I need money to come in. If you want this dream to keep like living and to keep being what it is, like I can't do it like without you. And without fail, every month on like 10
let's
seconds
go.
left and I get the money coming through. There's so many things that have happened, and like it's a God thing, it's a persistence thing, and that's my big rant of the struggle.
No. So
But it was
no
like
rant
also,
there.
and I want to say one more thing is that like it is interesting when being a person of faith to be like, it felt like Paul being in prison or David being in the lion's den, where like I should not be here, but I have so much peace with where I'm at that like there's literally a hurricane surrounding me right now, and life is going all sorts of kind of crazy. But like I felt very still and very like at peace, which is also my indication that I've always had in my faith too. Is like I feel at peace with where I'm at. The moment I don't feel at peace is when I know there's a shift. But because I felt at peace through this whole process, I was like, I don't feel like I need to leave and do something else. Like I'm fighting against that. And I think
Mhm.
me going and doing something else is fighting against the peace that I'm feeling. So like I just need to stay in this moment and stay where I'm at because like I have peace and I feel restful in in like everything being chaotic. And I had that realization, be like, I should be freaking out. Like you know? But I felt like this was the direction that I am supposed to be going in. And then there's been little validations throughout the whole experience.
BMJ, that's so good on so many levels, right? And so I was talking to an individual about 2 days ago, and I was like, God, I've proven myself faithful, right? So I've sat down in you. Why do you keep having to give me the test, right? Like I told you that I trust you, and then he was like, no, I've got bigger, I've got more. Let me see if you can really withstand the test. And so something that I always think about is now Brandon doesn't have to read about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's like, no, the God of Brandon is good enough because he helped me last month, the month before that, 6 months straight. But then also, what does that do? So one, you mentioned the validation, and I believe that's important. So you mentioned the validation that you received over the past couple of weeks. You mentioned the community that you have around you. But then now I know you talk about that big picture thinker, right? And having that big vision and seeing years in advance of what's going to happen. How cool is it to know, right? God, right now, it's not my reputation that's on the line, it's yours, right? I'm doing this
Mm-hmm.
thing and I have peace, and to be able to see what's coming. Because if I'm not mistaken, in your just geographic location, there's nothing like what you're doing available for business owners, for content creators, for others that are there. What is it like to be that lone voice in the wilderness? So I look at you, you're Noah building an ark, and no one has ever seen rain.
Yeah. There is one other smaller studio that just opened up a little after mine, and they will actually want to come out and see my studio. So, but like we live in a world of abundance. There's more business to go around. Their sphere is not my sphere. I honestly like to be the first one. It's exciting to me because it's like I've
You're
in my
weird.
in my professional career, um, I I have been in too many situations now where it's become the common theme that I see the writing on the wall before anybody else does. Like I see the writing on the wall. When I was a server and I became a supervisor at like StreamSong, this like high-end golf resort, and how they are running business. I'm like, I see the writing on the wall. Like, here's how we can do things and change to get to where we need to go to. They didn't do it. When I worked at the church, it was the same. It was the same thing. When I worked, like every position I've been in, being on the board of directors for Lakeland Realtors. Luckily, that's been a very collaborative like space, and there's been a lot of growth and things that have happened with the inside. But like I'm seeing the writing on the walls. Like, how are you not seeing any of this? And so now in the content space, it's like I see the writing on the wall. Like, this is where businesses are going, but there's nothing that's a solution for people who don't know any of this, nor do they want to know any of this. And so how do I minimize the barrier to entry? Because it was me, like it was my life. I'm building it for myself. And so now I see it. It's like, it's exciting because I'm a part of other studio groups who were the people who saw the writing on the wall 2 to 3 years ago. And now they're reaping the benefits of it. And Lakeland and Polk County has always been, 5 to 10 years behind a lot of these other places. And so I've gotten to these groups and I see it. And so being the only person here, it's exciting to me because I see what the opportunity affords and being the first to market. The only frustrating thing is having to teach people like what this is. Cause like so like my struggle, and it's only come as a business owner. It's like, okay, I know this to be true, but like, how do I get other people to realize it? And the only way for them to realize it is like when they come into my space, their eyes just light up. They're like, oh, I didn't realize I could do this. So I would say my struggle and not frustration is how do I get people to understand that more, understand that better, which just comes through connections and relationships. And once you can spend money to amp that up in a very practical and real way, that helps with my business. But no, it's exciting. Actually, I'm stoked to be the only person in the space. I can't say I'm the only person, but to be one of the first people. And then with my mindset and what I understand, and now being confident in who Brandon is, to be like, no, like I understand marketing and positioning. I mean, for instance, and she didn't get it, and we recorded, and her reaction was really funny. So when you walk into my studio, right, I'm not just like keeping all the lights on and like you're just walking into the studio. I'm like, no, that's like presentation's everything. So I know your business. I know that your brand colors is pink. So what am I going to do? I'm going to set up the camera. I'm going to turn the light. I'm going to put on a pink backdrop. It's like for lighting that's there. And you're going to walk in and the lighting's set up, like it's all ready to go. And we're in the conversation here. And she mentioned herself. She's like, I walked in and like, I've never seen like the pink backdrop on the color that's there. Like, it was amazing. She's like, that's my brand colors. And I looked at her and I just chuckled. I was like, that was on purpose. Like, she just laughs. She's like, what? I'm like, so again, all the like presentation is everything. I don't think I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this space. I'm being very specific on how you feel. Wanted people to feel a very specific way. So all the way from the colors to the smell, that when people walk into this space, like they get this sense of being hugged, like it's warm, it's inviting, because that experience means you're comfortable in front of a camera. And every single person that's come through the space has said, wow, like the experience that I had here was amazing. Anybody could build a space like this, but it's the attention to detail that you put into those small nuances that like, that's what gets me excited, because I know there's other places that are not first to market that like, you're not going to have the same experience to me. So I already know I'm going to beat you on that level. Like, it just is what it is.
Let's call a spade a spade.
So that's how I feel about it. It's an exciting thing, because now this is me putting everything that this is Brandon in a studio. This is who I am. So you come into here, you're seeing me and my personality being put on display, and the knowledge that I've gained over the last 10 years of my professional career in all of this space, and like putting it here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Neil Oates Jr. here with Brandon Moore Johnson. Now, there's a lot that we haven't talked about, which means that we're going to have to do another episode, because you have an entire different journey that you're on and that you're documenting. And I'm excited about that one, because because
that one's got me scared a little bit.
That one dude, can you imagine achieving that and then coming back and listening to this interview right here and talking about the challenges and the struggle, and then to be at 10? Oh my geez. What?
Do you want to let people know what you're talking about? Or
so I'm here. I'm just letting people know that Brandon Moore Johnson has something amazing that he's documenting, and that's going to be an amazing journey. If you're willing to share, this is your floor.
Oh Lord, I gotta put it out there anyways, because it's the only way to do it. You make it sound so much more like than what I feel like it is.
See, but this is where you underestimate and you downplay, and people around you who are like, Brandon, this is so you. And so if you listen to
Mhm.
everything you've talked about and the big vision that you have and the way you see the writing on the wall, I'm just excited that you shared it with me so that now I can come in and I can be a part of the journey, because everyone wants to be a part of the winning team, especially if we can get in ground level, right? And so I'm like,
Mhm.
man, I want to support. I want to watch. I want to see how I can contribute to this. So one day I can be in the group photo with BMJ and be like, that was me back there, the little white black guy, because I had bad lighting, right?
Oh my
So
god.
go ahead and tell the
All
people
I'm
what
saying
this
is I
is.
already know that either you're gonna be ahead of me by that point, or you're gonna be right there with me. That's like that's how I feel about it. So I'll put it out there because in the event that when it does happen, uh, you know, when it does happen, we can look back at video. So I have a financial goal of having $10 million in the bank account, and not like $10 million net worth. I'm like, I want $10 million in the bank account. And so part of this, me starting this journey, is that like laying that foundation and that work to having $10 million in my bank account. So I have an Instagram account called Path to 10, and that's my documentation of like the process and struggle of going through that and getting to.
And so now hold on.
Mhm.
You are a horrible promoter and self-promoter and self-salesperson. Horrible. Because here's
I'm
what
not
I
trying
know.
to promote it right now.
Why not? We need to see right now, because there's nothing like accountability, brother. And so I went
Mhm.
in, I followed the account as soon as you shared it with me. And I was insulted that it took you so long to share it with me, because I said, man, Path to 10, this is something I can get behind. And so I'm, of course,
Well, that was
you're the,
like I hadn't posted on that account because that was a health account way back when I like went and lost 40 pounds. And so realizing that in order to be able to achieve that level of wealth, you have to, health is a big, health
that's
is a
what I
big,
wanted you to talk about.
so health is a big part of it. So like, I already know where I'm at, where I feel like I'm failing. I wouldn't say failing, get better at is, oh no, the video went out.
Nope, but it's going to continue recording on a new track. So let's see if we can get your video back real quick.
Why?
No worries.
Do.
Man, you always singing shouty.
Every single day, day.
You said Day Day. Day Day.
Day
That crazy
day,
chick out
day
there
day.
again.
Day.
Man, I don't know what you're doing, but it sounds so interesting, right? I feel like we're in a dark room and all you hear is like click, 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 click. Like, oh my gosh, should I be scared? Yes, probably so.
Oh gosh. Heads up, new recording track created. I wonder if it's gonna make me. You can turn off the camera, but you can't switch the camera. There we go.
If you need to switch cameras, you can
there you go.
lead. Oh, can we come back?
No, I think I don't know, which is weird. My camera's never done that before, and I might have just kicked it off because of I just don't know why it's not. It's saying the camera's connected, but it's not letting me connect to it.
So leave the room and come back,
Okay, why is it doing that?
because it's technology. That's why.
All right, I'm gonna leave the room. I'll be right back.
Blum, 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 blum.
All right, are we back?
Yes, we're back.
Well, we are back. All right, so I'll just get right back into it. Where I was.
Yeah, you can get right back into it where you were. Well, let me say this. So a big part of the Path to 10, you said it started as a health account, right? But we're talking about 10 million in your bank account. And so you're talking about it was on part of the journey, losing 40 pounds, and now get into why that, we always hear health is wealth, but really you're talking about building and amassing and creating this wealth. How important is health? So go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like the Path to 10 account wasn't originally called Path to 10. It was just like BMJ Fitness, and so I had it as like blank account. And so when I reached the goal of wanting to have $10 million in a bank account, I realized like the level that takes, it's physical, it's spiritual. There's a whole lot of elements to that. So I ended up rebranding that account to Path to 10 because health. If your body can't sustain the level and capacity that you need in order to be able to accomplish that kind of financial goal, then like you're already losing. So for me, it's like I need to get my health in order. Spiritual life has to be in order, and then that is the found. It's like the same thing that I believe the studio is. Health is the foundation to being able to accomplish everything else. Because if you're tired and you need to stay up late or do whatever, like it's just you just can't. And there's something about discipline within that too. So there's a lot of, I'm realizing that there's a lot of things to your health and being disciplined and getting to allowing your body to sustain whatever it needs to sustain in order to get you to those kind of goals. So that's what Path to 10 is. It's you'll probably see a lot of fitness stuff on there, but a lot of it's underneath the guise of like, how do I build the foundation to get to 10 million? And so that's also building the businesses that I know that are going to come to get there. It's building the lifestyle that it takes of bringing value to people. It's doing golf stuff because I like golfing. It's like little things like, you never know who you're going to meet. And so golf is a it's a connecting, kind of sport in that space. Yeah. So that's the path to 10. That's what it is.
Man, now that's what I wanted. I wanted that the real conversation about the path to 10, not, oh, I feel like you're making it more than it is. No, someone having a goal and dream of having 10 millions in the bank, it's a big deal. And so here's why. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to see that, not that you need permission from Brandon and myself, but you have permission to dream, right? And I think that's something that we want to dream. But then once we start turning that dream into reality and we're met with resistance and challenge and heartache and headache, we abandon the dream. And so that's why I wanted individuals, I wanted people to hear about this path to 10 because I'm excited. And so that's going to really, I'm just going to quickly mention something that I have not formally launched, but we'll be launching the next week. And that's going to be Seek, Find, Ask. And so it's coming from Matthew 7:7 as the foundation, right? Knock, seek, find, answer, all that stuff, ask. But Seek, Find, Ask is us. Like, I have a bucket list of items here in my money book, I call it. Ridiculous stuff, right? Someone's going to give me a jet. I believe it. And not just any jet, G650ER, $66 million, brand new. So, hey, if you're watching this, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I know I am. But Seek, Find, Ask, the entire idea is seeking people out, finding them, and asking for what you want, right? And so you talk about golf. God hit me with the revelation one day. I was at a driving range, and this older gentleman, he had a bucket of balls. And so I was having a conversation with the guy that was there with me. And the older guy comes up. He says, "Excuse me, young man, would you like this bucket of balls?" Because he says, "I'm done. I've used it. I've done all I can do with it. Here." And he gave it to me. And so I was like, of course. And we already had 2 buckets. So it's not like I want to hit another 90 balls. Right. But then it hit me that someone treats a jet just like this guy treats that bucket of balls. Right. There's someone, a Rolls Royce to them is a Honda Civic. Right. And they're like, hey, I have abundance. And you talk about that abundance mentality. And so now what I have done is I have put my list together of Seek, Find, Ask of crazy things that I'm going to publicly, like, and it's not just going to be for me, it's going to be a community. Like, hey, what are you seeking? Once you know what you're seeking, I think that's a big deal. A lot of us don't even know what to seek or who to seek. Then we find them. And then if we have people, and you talked about your network and this community you have around you, of how, because you were actually seeking things out and being a great professional, you found people, and then you have a lot of the stuff for free or at discounts because of relationships, but you had to do this thing of opening your mouth and communicate what it is that you're wanting. So we're going to build a community around Seek, Find, Ask, where we're going to be able to help each other. But then a lot of people, I believe, are just going to help themselves by gaining clarity about what it is they want out of life. Because I'm like you. The idea of reporting to a job scares the hell out of me. Bruh, I tried it. I tried working for the church one time. And man, one of the hardest things in my life I've done. I stuck it out for 13 months, and I love Jesus, but I hate employment, right? Having to go there and report to someone, and then, hey, Neil, we need you to be in at 9:00. Do you know that one day I had $1 million client that I'm working with. I had to ask for permission to leave 30 minutes early. Me asking for permission? Do you know how hard that was? And not from an ego standpoint, but me knowing that's not my gift. That's not who I am internally. And I told him, I said, hey, I'll just tithe. I'm just going to fund the mission. So
Yeah.
that's going to be the way I give to God's house. It's not going to be here in the serving from 9 to 5:30. That's not me. And so that's what we're doing. And so, Brandon, I want to tell you thank you for sharing, for being honest, but then also for being an example. Because what you don't realize is that the inspiration, the actual example that you are, you're giving a lot of us permission to dream and act on our dreams. And then you mentioned, oh yeah, behind the scenes shoot for Cy Robertson. And I'm like, he just said it so casually. That's how I know 10 million gotta come so quick. Cause you didn't say, hey,
That's
you
only
won't
for
believe what I
conversation.
did.
I mean, it goes in like, I love your seek, find, ask, because one thing I wrote on a post is that you're one conversation away from finding the thing you need. And one thing that I always tell people, I was like, if you have a dream, like you have to talk about it. You have to say it. And I think the more you say it, the more you talk about it, the more you will realize that there might be somebody who can help you with it. And I think everything that I've done and everything that I've created has been on the back of telling people my dream and asking, like for the staging company who gave it to free. I was like, hey, is there a partnership where you guys can use the studio and I can do this? This one, they're like, yeah, absolutely. I just had to ask. So that's encouraging, and I just always encourage anybody and like just have the conversation. You're one conversation away. You're one conversation away from finding the thing you need.
But oftentimes, Brandon, we will allow the fear of rejection or even being
Mhm.
vulnerable, letting people know, hey, I need help. Right. And so that will get in the way of this big dream, this big goal. Because then the alternative is we could come to Content Studio and have folding chairs. Right. And Brandon said, well, that's not an option. He says,
Hmm.
no, the way I operate, you're not about to come here and have folding chairs and me spraying Febreze right before
Yeah.
you walk into the room. So that's a good
Well,
thing,
I've been
sir.
having like even for the conversation, it's like you don't let everybody know what your struggle is, but you have people that come through and I'm honest with where I'm at in the studio. I was like, hey, like I don't know if I'm going to be open next month. Like I'm in my dream. I'm in this part of like, here's what I'm doing, and I'm proving to myself that this is what this is. And so you just let people know what the needs are. So like I need this amount or this many clients or this kind of person to be coming in every single month to help with that. So you give a little bit of the backstory and then you say what your need is. Like, I need this kind of client. If you know somebody who needs photography or needs videography, like, please let me know. And so it's the ask always. You won't get anything if you don't ask.
So it's wild that you say that because I have this book, The Aladdin Factor, How to Ask for
Mm,
What You Want and Get It. So from Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, authors of Chicken Soup for the Soul, I read this book every quarter so that I can be reminded that I do need to ask for what I want. And there are people out there who want to help me. Like there's someone right now who is conspiring to help Neil achieve his goals, and it's going to be of no financial benefit to them. They're just saying, hey, I need to help. I need to add value. Here's someone that can push that forward. So you talk about it's in the ask, and that's what I love. So, Brandon, what would you have to share in closing with the audience today? It can be a song if you want to. I wouldn't be opposed to it. What do you have to say to the audience before we get out of here on this day to get through the rest of 2025 and to go into 2026?
say we're all in this together. From the High School Musical. I will say, don't take yourself so seriously.
Amen.
I will say, like, have the dreams and make sure that your alignment with who you are is part of that. Have a network of people around you. I think community is more important than everything because it's the stability to your life, whether it's going to be your family or whether it's going to be close personal relationships. And the other thing that I've been just dreaming of and thinking of, like faith in the kingdom, is like it's important to know people from different spaces. I look at in the same week I had you just call me and be like, Brandon, I was just thinking about you. And it ended up being a conversation that we needed. I had another friend from a vastly different part of my life reach out and be like, Brandon, I'm just so proud of you. It's cool seeing everything you're doing. And another close friend that same week who's like, hey, Brandon, he's like traveled with me along this journey, right? And so he ended up bringing a friend who needed for the business. He's like, I'm seeing you and I'm watching you. And like our conversation afterwards, like, it's just so encouraging to like see that and watch that. And then it made me realize the kind of person that I've always been is I don't like staying in a box of the same kind of person because you lose out on the benefit of every single one of those people are all different, but they're all providing what they can provide. Like for me, that's the thing that I need from the individual. But all of them are providing the same level of support. And so I think that's where, if you can, make sure that you are building that community, you're being intentional about building that community, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be in the position that I am now. And so I don't see it as I built this. I see it as, if it wasn't for the help of somebody, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I think that's where the whole level of value comes from me. So build your community, understand what your purpose in life is, and make sure that that's the foundation of how you operate. So you're not trying to like float through a whole bunch of things and just with having no guidance or direction, and don't take yourself so seriously.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? I said I don't know why people love this so much. That's a lie after today. No, because I see why. Dude, when I say we are, well, I'm saying we because I'm here with you. But dude, you're good.
Bro, you it.
Dude. So next to the definition of him, I think that's what all the kids are saying these days. He's him. Next to the definition of him, you're going to see 3 letters: BMJ, Brandon Moore Johnson. Dude, man, this is always so refreshing.
I love you,
bro. I love you too. But hold on, let me talk my talk for a moment, sir. Selfishly, I'm telling you, every time we have a conversation, every time we record a video, this enlightens me, it inspires me, it encourages me. This is the stuff that I need. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to warn you right now. If you're going to have a conversation with me after I ever have a conversation with BMJ, you're in trouble, because I am on fire every time we talk. I get to edit this video, I'm going to watch the playback, then it's posted, and I'm going to listen to it again, and every single time ideas are going to flash, and energy and excitement. So thank you for the energy that you have, dude. It's crazy. You should not evoke this type of emotion from me.
I just think, like, if you can have, because like, I don't know if people feel like, I hope people feel the authenticity like in the conversation, because if you can have, I think, a friendship and a conversation like this, like, it's just like, it's what life is. And I feel the same way, that for you, literally every time I talk to you, I'm like, you've changed the trajectory on like where I've been moving just by conversation of you being you. Right. And so that's why I think it's so important. Have people that you can trust. I don't trust like everybody. You gotta be careful, but like, have a relationship like Neil and BMJ.
It's like peanut butter and jelly, but okay. So who would be the peanut butter
jelly? Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly. That makes all bad. Peanut butter jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly. Who? Well, first of all, I think we had this conversation. Have you ever eaten a peanut butter and jelly sandwich before?
Yeah.
Okay. More peanut butter or more jelly?
I was a more jelly person, and then I've grown into a little bit more peanut butter, because I'm like, and I still pretty even ratios. I do thin, like, peanut butter on one side, peanut butter on the other side, so the jelly doesn't soak through the bread so easily. And then you put
wait,
jelly
hold on, wait, no way, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
You do peanut butter, and then put jelly on top of the peanut butter.
Yeah, because that way the jelly doesn't go through the bread. The peanut butter protects it. I'll say
you do know that the way, when I said you're weird, the way your mind works.
I didn't like, my wife taught me that. That wasn't a me thing.
Okay, so your wife is amazing. We just want to make sure we say that. BMJ is weird though. Dude, so you have peanut butter insulation. You have peanut butter insulation on your PBJ. Okay, so really quickly, if BMJ and Neil Oates Jr., who's the peanut butter, who's the jelly, and why?
I don't know. My initial response was, you're the peanut butter and I'm the jelly.
Why?
My first thought is because I'm jiggly.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm done with this guy.
I think the jelly's a little not as serious.
I am done with him. I would love to say this is the last time that we're doing this, but I am a glutton for punishment. Don't take yourself so serious.
That is where my mind went.
See, ladies and gentlemen,
where my mind went.
If you need a creative mind, I don't think there's any more creative mind than the one I have here with me on Beyond the Velvet Rope. BMJ, man, I love you. God loves you. There's nothing you could do about it. Ladies and gentlemen, all of Brandon's contact information is going to be in the show notes. Make sure you follow what he's doing with Content Studio. Make sure you follow him on Path to 10. We're going to be doing more of this. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, when you get good people in your corner, great things are going to happen. Brandon, I love you, man.
Love you too. And this has been Beyond the Velvet Rope. Yeah, yeah. Follow along, like and subscribe. Neil Oath is the man. He can be your God. Anyways, I'm done. See ya.
Dude, you